crack at this. This is everyone's favorite, speaking of anti-Semitic, this is everyone's favorite anti-Semite, Ilhan Omar, as she is talking to the media.
That is not the America we all know. That is not the America we love. And that is not the America the world looks up to. So it is up to us, Americans, to make sure we are standing up for American values.
Oh, my Lord. Ilhan Omar talking about standing up for American values as she criticizes Donald Trump. So what about being friends and partners and allies of Israel? Because I'd say that's an American value, wouldn't you? What about a closed border, a strong border, and having American tax dollars going to American citizens as opposed to illegal aliens?
To make sure we are standing up for democratic values. To make sure that the country that once defeated a king's tyranny does so
Tyranny?
again.
What the hell is a tyranny? Whatever. Ilhan Omar, fun with audio. All right, I've got to get to this Elon Musk audio with the guys at Doge. That is coming up right after the traffic on WTN. (7:15) Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Your weather for today looks like it's going to be a high of 82. Showers and thunderstorms expected. On Saturday, a high of 69 and mostly sunny. And on Sunday, a high of 64 and sunny. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on WTN. So, I don't know if there's been any group of guys more maligned in the last couple of last few months than the men. I don't know. Did you see any women on the Doge team, Joan?
None. None.
Okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't, being, the male chauvinist pig that some people accuse me of being.
I noticed that as well. No,
okay, very good.
No women.
So Biden, way overspent. We all know what happened with the former president. So Jesse Waters went in and he met with the team at Doge. A great segment. Find it online if you can. But they started talking about what they found that was so surprising. And one guy described the United States Institute for Peace.
It's definitely the agency we had the most fight at. We actually went into the agency and found that they had loaded guns inside of their headquarters. Institute for Peace.
I mean, any given company, any given organizational name is going to be kind of be the opposite of the title.
By far the least peaceful agency that we've worked with, ironically.
Of course.
Additionally, we found that they were spending money on things like private jets, and they even had a $130,000 contract with a former member of the Taliban. This is real. We don't encounter that at most agencies.
Yeah.
What was the money going to the Taliban for?
So it was a contractor. They received $130,000 for generic services, and to Elon's point, there was not actually a clear description of what the contractor services were for. But
was it for opium?
Unclear.
Or weapons.
Or nothing.
Or nothing.
or abroad.
Or, nothing.
And you naturally have to ask the question, well, how did we get here?
I mean, there you go. I mean, there have been reports by Doge and, of course, Tim Burchett, congressman out of Knoxville, about how we have been funding the Taliban for a long time. And I got to tell you, one of the things that has been his frustration, he talked about this on this particular show, is that it really did take him a long time to convince even the Republicans in the House to actually do something about the funding of the Taliban. We have given Afghanistan billions of dollars that goes through various organizations and banks and NGOs, which ultimately does end up going to the Taliban. And y'all know that is a terrorist organization. By the way, the government, a lot of people in the government will deny that's happening, but it actually is. They also spoke about the Department of Education, where they found a massive fund for fun.
There was a $4 billion COVID fund in the Department of Education, and there was no receipts required, so people could just draw down on it. And when people looked into it, this wasn't us, this was before us, They found that money was being used to rent out Caesar's Palace for parties, rent out stadiums, etc. And so the one change that Doge made with Department of Education is we had the simple requirement that if you draw down money, you must first upload a receipt.
Now realize what he said. He said that these organizations were in the Department of Education were literally renting out stadiums for parties. That is incredible. Now, the only thing that I can think of is, okay, maybe it was one of these party rooms, in stadiums, they have banquet rooms and that kind of a thing, or maybe it was a minor league stadium. They didn't get into the details, but oh my Lord, why would the Department of Education have a COVID fund that was being utilized for parties at stadiums? It would be funny if it wasn't so horrifying and sad. And everybody's out there screaming, oh, no, you can't dissolve the Department of Education. Yeah, we're going to get your slush fund to have parties at stadiums. Apparently they were renting out Caesar's Palace. You heard that?
That was the only change that was made. You must upload your receipt. And upon doing so,
Yes.
nobody drew down any money anymore.
Yes, but we didn't say that we'd check the receipt. You could send a fake receipt. You could send a picture of your dog. Anything. As soon as we asked for anything at all, suddenly the requests were like, oh, we don't need it anymore. Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And Elon Musk is absolutely right. Oh, weird. That's weird. So when they started asking for actual receipts and accountability, suddenly nobody needed the money. Amazing. The reaction to Elon Musk and Doge, as you listen to this audio, firebombing his Teslas, harassing owners of Teslas, picketing the dealership, firebombing dealerships, and, of course, justify his assassination for this.
So generally the fraud starts out small and they try to hide it. But then year after year, if nobody stops the fraud, it gets more and more brazen. And every year it gets bigger until they're literally renting out stadiums.
Right. And obviously, when you know you're doing something wrong and the longer that you get away with it, then the more brazen and careless you get and you get caught. Or an accountability demanding president gets elected. And it is so funny because you've got so many people that are angry at Doge, angry at Trump. And why? Because they want actual accountability and responsible spending of our tax dollars. And part of this narrative, of course, is, hey, Trump and Elon promised trillions in cuts, and they've only delivered $160 billion. Let me ask you a question. How much do you believe exposing the fraud is worth for the midterm elections? To me, that is worth trillions because the American people know who was behind it. And by and large, it was Biden, Kamala, and the Democrats. And I know that both Elon and Donald Trump have said, I wish the Doge were more successful. And I do understand that. But I think the fact that they say that is a testament to how deep and thick the swamp is, right? Some of the greatest minds in the world have been working on this, and they hit roadblock after roadblock after roadblock legally from an IT perspective, an entire political party resisting you, threatening you, an entire town, Washington, D.C., hating you. This guy lost his friends.
I dropped out of Harvard and came here to serve my country. And it's been unfortunate to see, lost friendships. Most of campus hates me now. But I think fundamentally, I hope people realize through conversations like this that reform is genuinely needed.
Yep.
And if there's one, I think this is important to say, if there's one group of people who really have a shot of success, it's the people here. They're up until 2 a.m., Monday through Sunday. Doge did not recognize weekends.
And for that, you get hated. But the most poignant comment is coming up right before the newscast with Joe and Joan. It is coming up at 7:30. Right now, it is 7:24 on Nashville's Morning News. Joan, what is coming up?
President Trump has done what many conservatives have been waiting for a long time, an executive order that he signed late last night. Also, We'll take a look at our weekend weather. Could be a little wet around here. Stefano's got more. Those stories coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, you heard Joan. It's going to be a wet weekend and going to have some storms this afternoon. The weather in Middle Tennessee can get crazy, obviously, as we all know, which is why you need a backup home standby generator from my friends at the Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. Now, you can get a free quote and, yes, get peace of mind as well when you have one installed. Your neighborhood goes dark, your power, your lights, your refrigerator is going to be on because you got that backup home standby generator from the Generator Supercenter. Now, they do feature expert installation, 24-hour monitoring as well. They're not going to leave you in the dark, and financing is available. 615-879-1952, 615-879-1952. The website, check them out. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. GeneratorSuperCenterofNashville.com, GeneratorSuperCenterofNashville.com. Dan Mandis here. Listen, if you are new to Nashville or you've been here for a long time, but you need reliable garbage pickup, you've got to call my friends at J&J Services. Now, there's a lot of companies out there that do this, but J&J Services, they have been around for 20 plus years. And if you throw it away, they're going to take it. They've got regular weekly trash pickup for you, construction site pickup as well, dumpster rental, and even commercial trash compactor services. You can toss it or you can crush it with J&J Services. Now, they'll work with you on pickup times. They are very reliable, flexible as well. J&J Services. And by the way, if you've got a construction site or whatever it is, they can offer you some porta potties as well. 2 decades of taking out the trash in Middle Tennessee. Call them for a free quote at 615-599-7778, 615-599-7778. You can find them online at jnjservices.com. J&J Services, where they always keep it trashy.
Good morning. It is 7:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. We do still have the closure on 24 this morning in Joelton between New Hope Road and Springfield. Got to exit at exit 31. That's where the detour is. It's 5 vehicles involved in that crash this morning. Also, a crash that's on the right shoulder now in Laverne on 24, the westbound side at Old Hickory Boulevard. Traffic, though, is stop and go from Almaville up to that point, causing quite a delay this morning. Mayor Freddie O'Connell proposing a 26% property tax increase to pay for services that he says will go away otherwise.
Budget that delivers on the basics, continues what works, pays our public servants fairly, and delivers on the biggest needs and concerns of Nashvillians, including housing affordability.
Channel 4's Dryden Quigley was outside where protesters said there is no reason to raise those taxes.
All morning, people were outside of the Nashville Public Library chanting. A few told us that they moved to Nashville because of the low taxes and did not want to see them go up. Mayor Freddie O'Connell acknowledged that although it is the lowest rate in decades, some will still be paying more because their home values have gone up by more than the average of 45%.
Protesters say they will keep going and keep up the pressure on the Metro Council, which has to vote to approve the budget before July 1st. The severe weather threat is a 3 out of 5 for this afternoon. Stefano DiPietro says, "We're okay this morning. It's later today that's a different story."
High wind gusts will by far be the main threat with any thunderstorm. Heavier rainfall could cause ponding and poor visibility. The strongest storms could have hail in them. The tornado threat remains very low at this time.
Storms may linger into tomorrow morning as well. Happening overnight, President Trump signed an executive order that terminates federal funding for National Public Radio and the Public Broadcasting Service. That order saying, quote, "Government funding of news media in this environment is not only outdated and unnecessary, but corrosive to the appearance of journalistic independence." Stock futures pointing up this morning. Dow futures up 197, NASDAQ futures gaining 62, and the S&P futures are up 23 points just into U.S. payroll growth totaled 177,000 last month. It beat expectations, so things are looking pretty good on the economy, at least from that angle. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather. Next, I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Dan Metis here, 7:33, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I want to tell you about my friends at DT McCall's because we are a conservative radio station, and I got to tell you, people are always throwing knives at us. You know that. They also throw knives at our advertisers. DT McCall's, they have been supporters of WTN for years and years and years. And, as you may or may not know, that actually takes a lot of guts for a company. DT McCall's, again, they've been around for a long time. And one of the things that I really like about DT McCall's, despite the fact that they're very conservative, I love what they stand for, great prices, great selection as well. And they've got 5 locations across Middle Tennessee: Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. And they offer you pretty much anything you need for your home or your garage or your lawn, your garden. You can find appliances there. You can find furniture at DT McCall's. You can also find office furniture and so much more. Lawn equipment, too. Now, what have I bought at DT McCall's? Well, most recently, I bought an oven, and I bought an oven at a great price. You go to their website, dtmccalls.com, and it goes on, how websites are. It goes on for a long time. You just keep scrolling down and keep scrolling down, and they've got special after special after special on appliances and on furniture, always looking for ways to save you money. So stop in or stop on dtmccalls.com. That is the website, dtmccalls.com. 5 locations across Middle Tennessee. Again, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. And that website, dtmccalls.com. Right now, I can tell you they're having specials on washers and dryers at some great prices. So check them out. Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. 735, Mark Spain Real Estate. Listen, if you need to sell your home and sell it fast, check out my friends at Mark Spain Real Estate and the guaranteed offer. Now you can skip the hassle of spring cleaning and sell your home fast for maximum value. You don't have to worry about showings, open houses, or costly repairs. Mark Spain Real Estate's guaranteed offer does allow you to bypass the market, receive an all-cash offer, and close within days. You know, they've got over 12,500 five-star reviews. Well, that means that you can trust Mark Spain Real Estate to sell your home fast with their guaranteed offer. Now, Mark Spain Real Estate, they've been serving families for nearly 30 years. They've helped over 67,500 satisfied clients. So spring into action and sell your home with confidence with Mark Spain Real Estate. There's no obligation, but find out what your guaranteed offer would be. 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD. You can always find them online. It is markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing.
Well, we do still have that problem this morning on 24 westbound in Joelton. It's still closed off this morning at New Hope Road. That's exit 31. Traffic is being detoured off there. They've been working on this since about 5 o'clock this morning. 5 vehicles involved in this accident. It may be there for a while. You've got an obstruction on the roadway in Goodlettsville. This is on 65 southbound at mile marker 100. They're not saying what it is, but they are saying that it is causing a big backup. Laverne, a crash, 24 westbound, Old Hickory Boulevard south. You've got something, you've got that crash. It's blocking off the right shoulder, but traffic is slow from Almaville Road up to that point. Woodbine, the crash on the right shoulder, blocked off I-440 westbound at Nolansville Pike. And one more in Antioch. This is on the eastbound side of 24 at Blue Hole Road. A crash blocking the right shoulder. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Maybe that's what it was. Joan, I've been called out, and this time I deserve to be called out.
Again, I mean, it happens frequently, Dan.
35.
Yeah.
Not 38. You got to be 35 years old to be president, not 38. I don't know where I came with 38. I don't know where I came up with that.
I don't know where he came up with it either.
I'm so confused by a number of things. Apparently, the minimum age of a president being one of them. I thought that the jobs report was going to be a train wreck. Like that's what the prognosticators were saying.
Yeah.
And now, I guess we beat expectations.
So payrolls grew. I'm reading this from CNBC. Grew 177,000 in April. That's above the 133,000 that economists that were polled by Dow Jones had anticipated. That figure is still down sharply from 228 that was in March. So the unemployment rate was 4.2%. That was in line with expectations. It's really about the expectations, not really about what the actual number is. You don't want to surprise those investors.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So there's that. There's a little bit of optimism about the China trade talks because China is now saying, yeah, maybe we'll consider that. The media, don't let them. By the way, don't let the media control this narrative because the media narrative is President Trump is saying that China came to him, but China insists that President Trump came to them. It doesn't matter.
I was going to say, who cares?
Nobody cares. But that seems to be the media narrative right now.
Oh, and the media narrative also, remember this, Joan? Media narrative was, has President Trump spoken to Xi Jinping personally?
Exactly.
It's like, that's not how it works, you dolts.
Yeah.
All right, so we're talking about Doge real quick.
Yeah.
We're talking about Doge. And the most poignant comment from this interview, to me, Jesse Waters, Fox News, goes in. He's got Elon Musk and all the Doge guys. They're sitting around a conference table, and they're just talking. Well, I'm not sure if I should be surprised, but the most poignant comment, you know who had the best comment? Joan?
Who?
Big balls. This is what he said.
Do these people not respect taxpayer money?
I mean, there's no incentive to if you work in the government. I think the incentives will always decide the outcomes.
Yes.
And, you know, the way that the payment system is set up is if you ask for money, like, you're just going to get it.
Yeah. I mean, they just don't care.
Right.
Because before Trump, before Trump, there was no accountability. So there you go. BD before Doge. Moving right
Keep
along.
BT. BT was better.
So let's talk about what happened yesterday with Mayor Freddie O'Connell, because I loved what Matt Murphy did yesterday during the afternoon show. We all know what happened with the raising of taxes. We spoke about this earlier. Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell announcing that he will be raising property taxes on Nashvillians. He did join Matt Murphy. Bottom line on all of this, because it was like a, 35, 45-minute speech, is that he wants to increase taxes 26.64%, and it'll depend on the property. But part of what he did was blame the federal government and Donald Trump, it seems to me. This is one of the quotes that has been a big topic of conversation.
But we've lost a reliable partner in the federal government, and that's impacting our community's work on many levels. Estimates reveal nearly 400 Nashville nonprofits are at risk of losing funding to the tune of $1.5 billion. Vanderbilt University Medical Center has already revealed that they're cutting their budget by as much as $250 million. And Metro has been ghosted on awarded funds of tens of millions of dollars. But we're not standing idly by as the federal government unlawfully tries to cut funding that's legally ours. We've told them we'll see you in court.
Big applause line, because, you know, you're talking to a bunch of Democrats. So remember the nonprofits. Just remember what all of this is about. Nonprofits, he's talking about that. The funding was cut. Federal grants, they were cut because their mission wasn't ideologically consistent with the federal government, according to the 2024 election of Donald Trump. The funding for Vanderbilt, same thing. Remember that Trump said that he would be cutting administrative costs, you know, that kind of thing. Actual research was not supposed to be impacted. The other part of that comment is, as the mayor says, money that has been approved by Congress but was not actually given to Nashville, and also cuts moving forward. That's why he is suing the Trump administration, because what Trump did, he came in and there was funding that was approved by the House of Representatives led by Republicans. And of course, the Senate last time around in the 118th session of Congress, the Senate was controlled by the Democrats. So bottom line is Trump came in and said, well, we're not going to cut the check. Even though it was approved by Biden and it was approved by the Republicans in the House and the Democrats in the Senate last time around, we're not going to give you that money. And so that's what that lawsuit is all about. Now, there was a lot made of this statement made by the mayor on the protesters.
Many of you undoubtedly walked past folks this morning who believe that property tax going up for any Nashvillian by any amount is unnecessary, just more government spending. These are the same people celebrating the chaos of federal cuts, which, make no mistake, are not about efficiency. What they won't tell you is what they're proposing means we wouldn't fund our school services and safety. We wouldn't open a new police precinct in Southeast Nashville, wouldn't have the new police flex unit shrink the amount of time you have to wait when there's an emergency, wouldn't expand safety in schools.
So that is the mayor. And a lot of people say that he is sort of dismissing the concerns of the people that were protesting in front of the Nashville Public Library. But here's the thing. Just because they want you to be responsible in the budget and not rely on the federal government for us to be able to fund city services, how is that a bad thing? I would say, to Mayor Freddie O'Connell. So it is really easy to say, oh, we have to raise property taxes. If we don't, the kids are not going to learn. The cops are going to be fired and not hired, and schools are going to be unsafe. That is, number one, is an incredibly unfair statement to make. And he's dismissing, in my opinion, he's also dismissing the concerns. I've got a lot more, including great audio of Matt Murphy confronting the mayor about that statement. And it is all straight ahead. 7:45. Time to check the roads on WTN. As far as your weather today, a high of 82 and showers. On Saturday, a high of 69, mostly sunny. And on Sunday, a high of 64 and sunny as well. Thanks for listening to Nashville's Morning News. Going over some of the relevant audio bites of Mayor O'Connell, as he was telling the people of Nashville that they're going to raise our property taxes if you live in Nashville. One of the things that he was talking about, and that he did talk about, was that Nashville is suing the federal government for withholding funds. This is that part of the speech.
This is money that hardworking Nashville taxpayers have already sent to Washington. It's money that hardworking Metro workforce team members have submitted applications for, and what the White House is unlawfully telling us it's not coming back. But Congress said it should, and we're going to fight for it.
All right, so whatever. That's what you want to do, fine, and that'll all get worked out in the courts. But later on in the day, after that, Matt did ask the mayor if he wants and appreciates the need for a balanced budget. Now, Matt was trying to trap him, and I love when Matt does this. So the mayor said, well, yeah, here in Nashville, we do want and need a balanced budget. And then Matt asked him this question.
Why don't you understand the concept federally of doing the same thing? Because you don't seem to understand that.
No, of course I do.
Hold on a second. We're $37 trillion in debt, and you poo-pooed that today during your speech like it was nothing. The United States of America is $37 trillion in debt, Freddie.
Matt, if you really want to get into a discussion of federal spending, we can do that.
No, you brought it up during your speech. You said
I did, because we rely on those programs locally.
You said, make no mistake, it's not about efficiency. Then what is it about?
It is not. It is not about efficiency.
Then what is it about?
I think it is about just the level of cuts, and I think that's where my greatest
No. If the cuts
on
the federal level,
it's not about efficiency.
We overspent. How much did we overspend as a federal government last year? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I know that these cuts aren't tackling the report about $400 billion in contractual.
Then why would you insult the people who were protesting a tax increase by suggesting that it wasn't about efficiency if you don't even know how much we overspent last year, Freddie?
Freddie, we overspent at the federal level $1.8 trillion. And Doge has found a lot of things, that money that was spent that was absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah. We do know that Joe Biden way overspent. And remember what Donald Trump has said, that grants and funding will be cut if it is related to DEI-type programs, and those cuts are inconsistent with the election results of 2024. Also, by the way, spending under the Inflation Reduction Act, general federal spending freeze also happened because we are $37 trillion in debt.
Should the federal government balance its budget?
I do think the federal government should balance its budget.
How does it do that?
Ideally, what they would do is what we do here. They would make sure that every dollar in came in and had, that the balance sheet added up.
But you said you walked past people this morning who believe property tax going up for any Nashvilleian by any amount is unnecessary, and these people are celebrating the chaos of federal cuts. And I'm trying to understand what.
And so, this is where I would say this is where you talk about, if you want to talk about efficiency, it is not just to say we are going to blindly cut some amount in some department. I think if you were really focused on efficiency, you would be measuring those dollars as a part of trying to move toward a balanced budget, not just making indiscriminate cuts.
All right. So the mayor also said during his speech that he is, again, suing the federal government to get money and the money that was promised. But one of the big disagreements yesterday on the Murphy Show, did the mayor blame Donald Trump for the property tax hike? This is where Matt proved that the mayor is lying. This is that part of the dialogue.
I am not blaming our property taxes on Donald Trump.
You most certainly did. I was in the speech, Freddie. You said that
you heard something different than what I said, Matt.
You said based on the instability of federal money and our inability to continue to depend on federal money coming into the city and increase costs, you have to make adjustments based on that. I was sitting there when you said it.
Well, mayor denies it. Murphy said it happened. Let's go to the tape.
But we've lost a reliable partner in the federal government, and that's impacting our community's work on many levels. Many of you undoubtedly walked past folks this morning who believe that property tax going up for any Nashvilleian by any amount is unnecessary, just more government spending. These are the same people celebrating the chaos of federal cuts, which, make no mistake, are not about efficiency.
He clearly, with that audio, he is clearly blaming Donald Trump and the federal government. So remember this.
I am not blaming our property taxes on Donald Trump.
All right. So I am not blaming our property tax increase on Donald Trump.
But we've lost a reliable partner in the federal government, and that's impacting our community's work on many levels.
How is that not blaming the federal government? How is that not blaming Donald Trump?
Many of you undoubtedly walked past folks this morning who believe that property tax going up for any Nashvilleian by any amount is unnecessary, just more government spending. These are the same people celebrating the chaos of federal cuts, which, make no mistake, are not about efficiency.
Is there anybody celebrating the chaos of cuts? No. What we're celebrating is the cuts. Because there's a lot of money that does need to be cut, and our country, Freddie, our country cannot continue to spend into oblivion. And I love that Matt totally called him out on being a liar. Liar, liar, pants on Freddie O'Connell. No.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Crushed it, didn't I? Liar, liar, pants on fire, Freddie. There you go. Maybe that's
second time around. Second time's the charm.
Second time's the charm. Liar, liar, pants on fire, Freddie. If Matt wants to use that, he can, because it is clear that Mayor O'Connell was lying. I love when he says, boy, you heard a different speech than I did, Matt. Oh, really? No, Mayor O'Connell. Liar, liar, pants on fire, Freddie. We all heard the speech. We all heard what you said. And we all know that despite what you say, clearly, you were blaming the tax increase on Donald Trump and the federal government. And part of this is we here in Tennessee, we need to have an economy that is not dependent on the federal government, if we can. 7:54, and Joan has the news today. Joan.
Yeah, coming up here, we will detail some of the new information that we have about that accident on 24 outbound in Cheatham County, what happened there this morning. Also, police in Laverne still searching for a hit-and-run car and the driver after a man was killed yesterday. Those stories coming up here at 8 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mendes here. You know, history had the gold rush, and then came the oil boom, then the tech boom. But right now, It is the Wi-Fi boom, and the Xfinity Wi-Fi is booming. Hey, it's Dan Mandis. Streaming, booming. Gaming, booming. Video calls, booming. Even when your boss schedules a meeting that definitely could have been an email. And right now, you can get Xfinity Internet and mobile together in one all-in plan. It is the ultimate power couple. Wi-Fi Power Boost from Xfinity Mobile gives you faster, secure Wi-Fi speeds at home and on the go, so your Wi-Fi is booming wherever you are. Now through June 23rd, new customers can get 400 megabit Xfinity Internet with free equipment and unlimited internet data, and get one unlimited 5G mobile line included, all in one plan, all for just $40 a month for a whole year. So whether you're working, watching, or panning for Wi-Fi gold, one thing is for sure: Xfinity Wi-Fi is booming. Find them online. Visit Xfinity.com to learn more. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes, fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabyte of data usage. Data thresholds vary. After 1 year, rate increases to $110 a month. After 2 years, regular rates apply to all services. Up to $143 a month. Actual speeds vary. Liar, liar, pants on fire, Freddie. I do think, Joan, that's a great little nickname for
You like that, huh?
the mayor.
How do our listeners like it, Dan?
Freddie. Well, first of all, I called him Freddie Connell instead of Freddie O'Connell. But then earlier I called the Mayor Cooper. I can't win today. But yeah, liar, liar, pants on fire, Freddie. I think that works.
Mm-hmm.
Super texters, what do you think? Yes or no? Is that a great name for Mayor O'Connell? Liar, liar, Pants on fire?
Somebody said, Barry says it's fast, Freddy.
Yeah, but... Oh, okay. Well, apparently our computer crashed in there, Joan. I'm supposed to be out by now. I was waiting for the music. In fairness to me, I was waiting for... You know what? I'm going to blame this on KGB. All right. Got a lot more straight ahead on WTN.
Good morning. It is 8 o'clock, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Yeah, that accident on 24 outbound in Jolton, it is still closed this morning while they're investigating a 5-car crash. It's closed 24 westbound at exit 31. That's where you have to get off the roadway. The detour there has been there since about 2:30 this morning. Police in Laverne are still searching for whoever hit and killed a man walking along Old Nashville Highway yesterday morning and then drove off. The elderly man in the accident later died. Now, this neighbor says she won't even let her kids play in the front yard anymore.
They're treating this street like a racetrack, like Speedway.
She says that the man who was killed walked every day against traffic along that stretch of roadway that has no sidewalk. More on the accident that has closed down the outbound lanes there of 24 in Cheatham County this morning. Tennessee Highway Patrol now saying that one person died in that 5-car pileup. The cleanup and investigation had been on the roadway, and it's been closed ever since 2:30 this morning. It could, however, be open during this hour. We'll keep an eye on it this morning. President Trump delivered the commencement speech to graduating students at the University of Alabama last night with a special message for business majors.
For the business majors here today, I challenge you not merely to use your talents for financial speculation, but to apply your great skills that you've learned and had to forging the steel and pouring the concrete of new American factories, plants, shipyards, and even cities which are going up all over our country.
Other news of the day, a transgender swimmer obliterated the competition, winning 5 races at the U.S. Masters Swimming Spring National Championship in San Antonio, Texas. Hugo Caldas, who now uses the name Anna, competed against 45 to 59-year-old women to score those wins. Activist Riley Gaines calling it a real-life South Park episode. When the horse named Render Judgment starts out of the gate 15 at the Kentucky Derby tomorrow, Toby Keith's family is going to be watching. He owned that horse along with his lifelong friend, Tommy Gandolfo.
That is the greatest thing that ever happened. These people spend hundreds of millions of dollars to try to get to the Derby. And here he is. He's one of 20 people that have made it to the Derby.
Yeah, he was speaking to Fox 56 out of Lexington. Gandolfo says that he and Toby owned several horses together over the years. Render Judgment was a late entry after another horse suffered a leg injury. A lot of folks will be cheering on that number 15 horse tomorrow. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Well, positive reports have investors in a buying mood. Stock futures rose on solid jobs report this morning. Payrolls grew more than expected. Also, there's news that China appears ready to talk trade with the Trump administration. So things are looking good in the futures market this morning. The Dow Jones Industrials futures are up 387. NASDAQ futures gaining 201. And the S&P futures are plus 58 points. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather just ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, 24 westbound in Joelton remains closed this morning. It's closed for a crash investigation. Been there since 2:30 this morning. So 24 westbound is closed at exit 31 while they still work on that accident, cleaning it up, and the investigation involved after 5 vehicles that were involved in that crash. 65 southbound in Talbot's Corner, past Trinity Lane. You've got an accident and the right shoulder is blocked off. All the vehicles are being moved to the right. Goodlettsville, 65 southbound, something on the roadway right at mile marker 100, causing everyone to swerve around it. Laverne, 24 westbound at Old Hickory Boulevard, south exit 62. A crash and the right shoulder is blocked. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.807 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So, Joan, people are going nuts on these job numbers.
Yeah.
So they beat expectations.
Yeah.
Donald Trump apparently has posted on Truth Social. This is from First Squawk. Gasoline just broke $1.98 a gallon, lowest in years. Groceries and eggs down, energy down, mortgage rates down, employment strong, and much more good news as billions of dollars pour in from tariffs. Just like I said, the president says, just like I said, and we're only in a transition stage, just getting started. Consumers have been waiting for years to see pricing come down. No inflation. The Fed should lower its rate.
Time for it to happen. I mean, what are they waiting for? And the problem is that the Fed, has the power to hold back a president.
Oh, absolutely.
And
they can help a president.
He can help a president. And Jerome Powell is holding back at a time when other Fed presidents would consider lowering the interest rates.
So
if he did that and sparked, the mortgage rates would come down. Mortgage rates are actually tied to the 10-year Treasury note, but it would still help. It would empower the Treasury notes to come down, and mortgage rates would be lowered. If the mortgage rates are lowered and the housing market started going, man, we'd be in such good shape.
By the way, they're also looking apparently into these numbers, and you're right, Joan. They're also looking at these numbers. They say that are up over 1 million jobs.
Wow.
Foreign-born workers.
I didn't know they keep track of that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And foreign-born workers down $410,000.
I think there's a lot of self-deporting going on.
You know what? That's what I was going to say. When you're down from foreign-born workers, 410,000 jobs, I think there is a lot of a lot of people self-deporting because, I'm reasonably certain the gangbangers weren't working. Unless you call drug pushing a career, recruiting kids to get into your gang there, that's not a career. Well, I guess it is for them. Anyway, whatever. So, good news today.
It really is. It really is. It's starting off beautifully.
Yeah, I almost wish it wasn't Friday, Joan. I wish we could just,
Don't say stuff like that,
have
Dan.
another couple of days for all the good news to keep rolling in.
I think we need to rest on our laurels.
Is that what we need to do?
That's what it's time for.
I'm going to be doing a lot of resting on my laurels and other parts when I get home today. By the way, nobody liked Liar, Liar, Pants on Fire Freddy. Not one person. As a matter of fact, one person said, Joan, you need to have a code word or phrase with Dan.
I like that.
So that when he's just not hitting it, you just got to say, good one, Dan. And that'll be code for it's time to move on.
I used to have a code word with my kids.
Oh, what was it?
Rumpelstiltskin.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Rumpelstiltskin?
You wouldn't use that word in another setting, so they couldn't say it, they couldn't say it accidentally.
Got it.
So there had to be a word that said, he's hitting me and I've had enough of it and I'm going to freak out if he doesn't stop. When kids
But it's
are
easier
like
just to say
4, 5, 6.
Rumpelstiltskin?
Yeah. Well, it also prevented them from saying it too much.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I don't even think that I pulled it off. I don't even know. What is a Rumpelstiltskin? What is that? I don't even know. Is that from a book?
I think it's from a book.
Okay, you think. So you don't know.
It's a story about a guy. He's
it's a grim story.
He's kind of like a goblin-looking creature. He basically he uses hay to turn into. He spins hay into gold.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And he basically makes a deal with a mother to give him her child, like in the deal, and she wants to renege on the deal. And she said, "All right, you can renege on the deal if you say my name." And she forgets his name because it's a ridiculous name.
Really glad we went down this road, Joe.
I know, right?
That's the cliff notes of it.
Okay. Very good. Well, KGB, Joan, with all fairness to us, he's a lot closer in age to story time than we are.
Right.
Wow, you asked a question, I answered it, and I get that?
No, I'm saying that I appreciate it. That's what I meant to say.
Sound like it. It's like what a loser Jeff is for knowing Rumpelstiltskin.
But see, I can't even say it. I'm supposed to be a professional broadcaster, which sometimes I wonder. Anyway, moving right along. Hey, we all know Scott Jennings, right? We all love Scott Jennings. Mm-hmm. So there was a massive, massive fight over there do you ever actually watch Abby Phillips' show?
I do. It's entertaining.
CNN?
It's entertaining.
So you watch the whole thing?
Sometimes.
How train wrecky is it? Like, is it?
Oh, it's really train wrecky. First of all, she's not a great host or arbiter, which is the role she's supposed to play. She lets people just run amok.
Well, I think that they've spoken to her about letting people run amok because they've had one incident after another on her show. Mm-hmm. And there was a meltdown earlier today where Anna Navarro and Shermichael something or another.
Okay.
They got into a shouting match, and I was going to play it. When people are shouting at each other, it's hard to
understand.
It's hard to understand, but I do have some great audio coming up where Abby Phillip actually treats, speaking of Rumpelstiltskin.
Well done.
Thank you. I had to slow down. But she actually treats Scott Jennings like a fifth grader. And I've got that audio coming up next. It is coming up on 8:15 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time to check the roads. Very good. At 8:15 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. As far as your weather goes, a high of 82 today and showers, possible storms as well. Joan, are you showing rain on Saturday? Because there seems to be some disagreement amongst weather forecasts as to whether or not we are going to have rain on Saturday.
All right. So I can tell you that Stefano said earlier today that rain would continue, that starts tonight, would continue into tomorrow morning. But I am looking, here I am looking at, this is the National Weather Service, and they do say that starting at 2 a.m. Friday into Saturday, there will be rain. Yes.
Okay. So
and all throughout the day. Ha.
On Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, so possible rain on Saturday as well.
Sunday's going to be the day.
The day for?
Going to the winery, sitting outside.
Okay.
See you there.
Mm-hmm. Possibly. All right, 8:15 on Nashville's Morning News. Real quick. So this is Scott Jennings. And we all know what's going on with all of the technical roadblocks regarding Doge and getting these folks to be able to actually literally do their jobs of finding waste, fraud, and inefficiencies. And so, and they brought receipts. I played some of the audio earlier. This came up on Abby Phillips' show. Listen to how this whole thing played out.
But I spoke to a member of the cabinet and I said, how has the Doge effort gone in your particular department? I'm just curious. And he said something very interesting to me. He said, apart from all, the press focuses on the programs and the grants and all that, and that's sexy. But, he said the most interesting thing that these guys have been able to do for us is we inherited a massive backlog of things that the previous administration left us, and we were unable to really deal with it because of IT issues. And he said, these guys showed up over here, and they made a huge impact on our IT infrastructure, which then allowed us to clear out a backlog of outstanding issues that we were just having trouble getting to.
All right, so, and then, of course, like we always see, people start just jumping in, right? Gretchen Carlson, of course, former Fox News, right? She starts screaming at him about how what he's saying is the only success of Doge is a better IT system. She clearly doesn't understand what Scott Jennings was saying. Listen close.
Wait a minute. America wanted to see actual cuts, and now we're going to say
no, he just said they don't. Which is it?
No, I'm saying most Americans actually did want to see.
He's mad about the cuts.
Okay, well, I'm talking as Gretchen Carlson. I'm not talking as Dave.
A person who has
I'm
a
my own
different point
individual.
of view. She's
and
allowed to
most
have
Americans
that.
would agree that they want to get rid of fraud and waste.
Yes.
And now you're saying that the greatest accomplishment of Doge
I'm saying it's an
was that they've solved IT problems?
And I spoke to another cabinet secretary yesterday who said this has been a, quote, wonderful accelerant.
So what?
This continues.
Politicians
the program
say
continues.
whatever they say to be able to put on a good face.
Why are you so angry?
I'm not angry. I'm frustrated.
I mean, you look enraged.
I'm frustrated like most Americans because we want to know where the cuts are.
Gretchen, let me just hit pause here. I mean, look.
So if you've seen the video, Gretchen Carlson's, her eyes are like buggy. Like she's just, you can tell that she's angry. And I love that Scott Jennings says, what is your problem? Like, why are you so angry? And that is a perfectly legit thing. What he is trying to say, and maybe he needs to speak a little slower for Gretchen, but maybe what needs to happen is Doge has been very specific as to some of the things that they've seen. But all Jennings is saying is a byproduct of Doge going in and trying to figure out where the waste, fraud, and abuse is they were able to overcome roadblocks within IT. Because remember, they've had roadblocks that have been placed for them from an IT perspective, again, from a legal perspective as well. And so they're trying to find all of this waste, fraud, and abuse, but they had to develop a better IT system first. That's not a bad thing, is it? No, it's not. So Abby Phillip uses this moment to chastise Scott Jennings for calling out Gretchen Carlson and saying, why are you so enraged? And listen to this, because it actually sounds, Joan, like she's treating them like fifth graders after a schoolyard fight.
People get worked up at this table,
yes.
yourself included, all the time. Let's not call people angry when they're simply making a point.
Well, she's very upset.
Like I just have to say that because I think that
you're blaming it on IT.
Let's deal with.
I'm not blaming anything. I'm saying it was a good byproduct.
Scott and Gretchen, just give me 1 second, okay? Let's deal with the issues at hand. We don't have to, say you're angry. You're, this. She's just making a point, okay?
Thank you.
All right, somebody's got to yell Rumpelstiltskin.
That's right.
When they're upset, that's what they need to do.
That's right. That's what the word's for.
She is way over the top.
She is, honestly.
Like Gretchen Carlson and Abby Phillip, they are way over the top. And Scott Jennings is like, dude, why are you so crazed about this? All I'm saying is that we developed better systems. Isn't that a good thing? But for all the anger and all the resentment and, they should have done better, right? Remember the start of this was you've got people in the media saying that Doge has been a failure because they promised $2 trillion in cuts. They only got $160 billion now. And part of that is, okay, but what about, as I said earlier in the broadcast, and I've been saying, what is the exposure? What is exposing the Biden administration and the Democrats, exposing all of this waste, fraud, and abuse during the Biden administration? Here we come in, cleaning all of this up. That is worth, in my opinion, $1 trillion or $2 trillion in savings. It really is. So as we talk about all of this, they're destroying the democracy, our democracy garbage on the left. Again, I'm going to replay this moment because I think it was a great moment when Jesse Waters was in there talking to the guys of Doge with Elon Musk when Big Balls said this.
Do these people not respect taxpayer money?
I mean, there's no incentive to if you work in the government. I think the incentives will always decide the outcomes.
Yes.
And, you know, the way that the payment system is set up is if you ask for money, like, you're just going to get it.
I mean, I wish we could do that here. Could you do that at your business, friends? Like, if you just said, hey, I don't know, hey, big boss, can we have like $500,000 for a really cool microwave oven in a new kitchen? Pretty sure that would be a no, and there's got to be some accountability. But to hear what the Doge is saying, they just, they make it rain. And there's no accountability for any of our taxpayer dollars. You could not run a business like that, and that is why I love what Donald Trump and Doge are doing. And I think it says a lot about the Democrats that they hate what Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Doge are doing. It is 8:22. Joan Jones is in the WTN newsroom. Joan, what's coming up?
We'll have more on Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell's proposal to increase property taxes. Also, a former police officer is now in trouble with the law. Those stories coming up here at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis for my carpet cleaning company, Zero Res. Now, I've been a client of Zero Res for years. One big reason is that they really do help my allergies. Now, carpet is the #1 air filter inside your home. It filters out airborne particulates, pollen, bacteria, you name it. Zero Res will figure it out and filter it out. They're going to filter out the bad stuff so you can keep your filter clean. Again, that's your carpet. Now, Zero Res does this better than anyone. They don't use any harsh chemicals or harsh soaps, just powered water that leaves behind soft and fluffy carpets. Now, remember, again, a clean filter means a healthier home. Here in allergy season, that is critical for you and your family. You know, they haven't raised their prices in years at Zero Res, and every month a new offer to save you money. Right now, 2 rooms of carpets cleaned for just $109, and you're going to get a free hallway. I'm going to repeat it because, again, it is a great deal. 2 rooms of carpets cleaned for just $109, and you get a free hallway plus 25% off of area rugs. Restrictions may apply. Call them 615-535-9376, 615-535-9376. Book online, ZeroResNashville.com. A24, Nashville's Morning News. Dan Mandis here for Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Spring rebate madness is going on right now at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. I want you to listen to these rebates. A mini split 17 SEER or heat pump 17 SEER, you are going to get an $800 rebate. These are real savings. Heat pumps 15 and 16 SEER, that is a $500 rebate. Duct sealing or repair, that is a $300 rebate. So many ways to save with Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. You can join the Beehive Club today, by the way. And if you do, you get a $50 rebate on your spring and fall tune-up. Now, that means that you're actually saving enough money to pay for the Beehive membership for the year. They'll even file those rebates for you so you don't have to. There's a ton of other benefits when you join the Beehive Club. Check them all out at their website, busybeehvac.com, busybeehvac.com. It's 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybeehvac.com. $8:29, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, if you are interested in seeing that video with Scott Jennings and Gretchen Carlson and Abby Phillip, I went ahead and posted it on my X feed at Dan Mandis Show. Five Finger Freddy, Joan.
Oh, okay.
Is what a number of people said would be
not
a
bad.
really good Freddie O'Connell nickname. I don't know why nobody liked Liar, Liar, Pants on Fire Freddy. I don't understand why that just didn't land today.
Maybe because it's not all that good. I'm just saying.
There is that possibility, Joan. There is that possibility that, in my case, a man or Dan does not know his limitations. It is 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It is now 8:30, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. It appears that accident on 65, make that on 24 in Joelton in the westbound lane, so heading away from the city, it appears to be cleaned up at this point, and the roadway is reopened once again. That was a 5-car crash in the overnight hours that had it closed down for hours this morning. We've got more in traffic coming up. Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell proposing a 26% property tax increase that he says is necessary to help provide with the resources that Nashvillians need.
Building schools, patching potholes, picking up trash, and keeping people safe are all more expensive. This is a challenging budget to prepare because there are so many financial variables. Our national economic outlook is murky. We're phasing out hundreds of millions of dollars of one-time federal COVID relief funding.
Now, the Metro Council has to vote to approve the budget before July 1st. A former Murray County Sheriff's Office patrol sergeant was arrested on charges of driving under the influence. His name is Randy Marisette. He's accused of leading police on a chase through a Columbia neighborhood in April before finally pulling over. He was charged as well with evading arrest. President Trump's executive order signed late yesterday ends public funding of the National Public Radio and PBS to stop what he calls biased and partisan news coverage. That order directs the Corporation for Public Broadcasting to cease federal funding for both of them to the extent that is allowed by law. That order will likely be challenged in court. China is saying it is evaluating the possibility of starting trade negotiations with the U.S. This is the first sign of a break in the trade war there. And also new this morning, Ireland has fined TikTok $600 million for sending user data to China. Ireland saying that the personal data was accessed remotely by staff in China. Money news, it's brought to you by Beacon Capital Management online at beaconcm.com. Stocks have jumped in the early going here after a good report on the jobs numbers, a solid jobs report that was out from April early this morning. So the Dow Jones Industrials have begun here jumping 473 points. The NASDAQ is higher by 174. S&P is up 63 points. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan Jones. 8:33, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Dan Mandis here for my window company, Window Nation. Now, I endorse these folks because they did great work for me. And I got to tell you that some of the most important rooms in my house, of course, is going to be my bedroom where I sleep and also my studio where I do a lot of work. Window Nation put new windows in my basement studio, my bedroom, and also my kitchen. And they look great, quality craftsmanship and everything. I love Window Nation. Now listen, if you've got old and inefficient windows, it is time to upgrade with Window Nation. They were ranked highest on Forbes' list of best window installers. You want to check them out, windownation.com. These are windows, by the way, made in America. They've got a great deal going on right now for listeners to my show. You buy 4 windows, you're going to get 4 additional windows absolutely free and no payments or interest until 2027. Again, 4 windows, you get another 4 additional windows free, plus pay no payments or interest until 2027. They're energy efficient, so not only are you saving money on install, but on your electricity bills as well. Find them online, windownation.com. That is windownation.com, 866-90-NATION.
Traffic is moving again on I-24 outbound in the Jolton area. The roadway is now reopened after that long closure this morning. The traffic accident has been cleaned up there. In Glencliff, you've got a crash on 40 westbound at Spence Lane, exit 213. The Gore is blocked off. South side, 40 westbound past Fessler's Lane. There's a crash that blocks off the right shoulder. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. Dan Mandis here. Listen, Mother's Day is coming. It is on May 11th. Now, what are you going to get the mom in your life? I've got a great suggestion. Me and my friends at Contours. Now, this is a new special, a brand new special. They just changed it this morning. Listen to this. $99 and you are going to get one of those incredible facials from Contours for your mom. Only $99. Now, this is that ultra slim technology that stimulates collagen, and it does tighten the skin as well, helping those fine lines and those age spots fade. Right now, you can get mom a facial for $99. Another special, $99 for the belly buster treatment as well. You want to check that out as well for mom. Now, it's a Mother's Day special, so you've got to get it before May 11th. Here's the phone number. Call them right now, 615-236-9960. 615-236-9960. My friends at Contours trying to help you out for Mother's Day. You can see how it all works at contoursllc.com. That's contoursllc.com. $8:37, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Welcome on in, along with Joan Jones. KGB is producing, and Chris Hand is here as well.
What's up?
Not my ability to give the mayor nicknames, apparently. Now, do you like Liar, Liar, Pants on Fire, Freddie?
It doesn't exactly roll off the tongue.
Oh, whatever. You know what? Yeah, but everybody seems to love Rumpelstiltskin, whatever that is.
It's
from the
great
1800s.
But it's a funny word.
Yeah, that's why it works.
Yeah.
Freddie
Well,
the
so
Fraud.
is Liar, Liar, Pants on Fire, Freddie.
Someone in our YouTube chat said Freddie the Fraud. I feel like that.
Oh,
Freddie
that's
the
a
Freddie
good
the
one.
Fraud,
Oh.
Five-Finger Freddy.
Let me give the person credit. It
Yeah.
was Ricky Montana.
Oh, Ricky Montana.
Okay,
Like
Ricky
Brian
Montana. That's a rock star name if I've ever heard one.
Shout out,
I was
sir.
just picturing Al Pacino. Don't you know who I am?
That's the only non-cursing quote of his you can say.
That's the only one.
The rest is just nothing but curse words.
All right, I want to have a serious moment. No, really, I do. Like, I know people think I'm kidding when I say that, but I do. I want to play this audio because I only got to play it once. And I think it's really incredible audio. And I don't know if you've seen this yet this morning, Chris, but they have audio of Kilmar Abrego Garcia's wife. And she is in front of a judge, and she's asking the judge for a protective order. This is a few years ago.
I came to fill out a protective order. I think it was in December. But I didn't show up to the court because his family washed my brain telling me that his dad was sick and not to do it. So I didn't do anything. But after that, it was I would call the police. I have a lot of police reports, and I kept trying to get to the door basement to try to open the door, and then he pushed me. So then when I was able to go outside to get a phone, I called 911 from a disconnected phone. Now they took a long time to get to the house. It was probably 20-30 minutes. So I saw a neighbor walking his dog, and I opened the door and I was like, help. And then when he heard me, he grabbed me from my hair and then he slapped me. And then the neighbor, he didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to react. I have pictures of the evidence, all the bruises, because even on Wednesday, he hit me around 3 in the morning. He would just wake up and hit me. And then last Saturday for my daughter's birthday party, before I went to my daughter's birthday party, he slapped me 3 times. And then last week I did call the police. My sister called the police because he hit me in front of my sister.
I mean, who of us doesn't wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and want to beat the heck out of our wives?
Unbelievable.
It's the most frightening thing that somebody could just wake up and hit you.
Yeah.
Where's Senator Van Hollen in his remarks?
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly right. But here's what confuses me, though, Chris, because this is what she told ABC News.
What has your life been like with him?
We've been together over 7 years. It's been amazing. He's very a loving husband, an amazing father.
So
only a couple broken bones with our relationship.
An amazing husband and a loving father.
I have pictures of the evidence, like all the bruises. He hit me like around 3 in the morning. He would just wake up and hit me. Before I went to my daughter's birthday party, he slapped me 3 times because he hit me in front of my sister.
So I don't know.
This is somebody that doesn't want the give, send, go money to stop rolling in.
That's right.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right.
And
So
I feel bad, because I'm kind of pointing the finger at the wife who's been beat up, but you put yourself in the situation
she
now.
did.
And put yourself at the forefront of it, so you kind of deserve the criticism a little bit, right?
A lot of it, I actually believe.
Yeah.
Because you're not being truthful. You're not being truthful. You asked for, and in that audio, she said, I've got a stack of police reports. So, and I get that, bad things happen and then you work things out. I do understand that. But, come on. And when your ex is upset, remember that story from a couple of days ago when your ex is upset because you're dating a gang member, which is what the court document said?
Yeah,
Remember that?
when he was fighting for custody for the kids that we were told were Bregos.
The other thing I thought was funny, and we had a bit of controversy on the radio program today.
You did?
And had nothing to do with one of my bad jokes. So, audio of the Tennessee Highway Patrol when Kilmar Abrego Garcia was pulled over. And we have audio now from courtesy of the Tennessee Star of what the Highway Patrol officers were saying.
You know what you got here, right?
No. He's hauling these people for money. You got an ass hauler is what he's doing. But sometimes they commingle dope.
So,
was the technical term ass hauler?
That's what he said.
That's the question.
But the transcript said ice hauler.
No, I heard.
Yeah, we all did.
I understand what. Listen, first of all, I'm allowed to play it. It's a news story, but just
in
future,
case the boss listens, I'm allowed.
Yeah, future legal purposes. But the transcript said ice.
Well, the transcript lied.
Okay, very good. But I did find it funny though that they're admitting on this traffic stop that this guy's obviously a human trafficker.
8 people in there.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that. They put an extra row of seats in there.
Yeah. So he's getting paid to all these people, probably to Maryland, I would say, if I had my guess.
He said they all work together, is what he's telling me, but he's the only one that knows English.
So let me ask you this. They don't have any luggage in there, right? And if you get them out, they're going to have a toothpaste, and they're going to have toothbrushes in their pockets, I guarantee it.
Well, better cut them loose.
Better cut them loose.
I see nothing wrong here.
Extra row of seats, 8 people in a car.
No luggage.
Clearly ass haulers.
It's the same as just rear-ending a radio host. It's perfectly fine.
It's fine.
It's all well and good. No problem whatsoever.
This is okay.
Everything's fine with the fire.
But at least they had good oral hygiene because perhaps they had toothpaste and toothbrushes.
I mean, that cop has seen some stuff when he goes, guarantee they got a toothbrush and toothpaste in their pocket.
Right. And the cop even predicted, I guarantee you they're going to Maryland.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't understand. I still don't understand why it is that they were allowed to leave. One of the things that they said was if you arrest Abrego Garcia, then you got to let these other 7 or 8 go, like on the side of the road. At least that's what the story reads. Well, how is there not some sort of a law or a policy on this?
I don't know. We would have more information, too, if the body camera didn't cut off for the 10 minutes that they were on the phone with the Biden FBI conveniently.
Yes.
Oh, that is convenient.
Isn't that what a coincidence that happened?
That sounds like normal protocol to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yep.
By the way, State Senator Mark Pody says that he has made an official request to get everything concerning that traffic stop because we are concerned about what happened.
Yeah, you think?
So there you go.
Concerned.
Well, at least he was more concerned apparently than the traffic, the Tennessee Highway Patrolman who pulled him over.
I mean, I don't even want to blame the cops in that situation. They probably have their hands tied by just...
I guess,
I mean, that one guy knew exactly what he was looking at.
Right.
Like,
Clearly.
So he obviously went through this and got like, hey, let him go already. So he knows.
Well, we don't
he
know.
knows.
We don't know if he told him to let him go. It was the Biden FBI supposedly that.
What I'm saying is he probably heard like a higher ups to say let him go. So he's been through what this guy is going through.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So anyway, I worked really hard on that audio, and I wanted to play it a second time.
Yeah. Plus,
At least you're honest about
See,
it,
Joe's
right?
laughing, but she actually knows that that's true.
Yeah.
Because like I get up at midnight every day to find this audio, and if I get really good audio, I want to use it twice.
That's your probably strongest suit on this show. Your audio is always pretty good. It's probably top notch.
Pretty good.
Probably top notch.
Probably top notch.
Probably.
This is why you keep him around, huh?
If you're going to compliment me, you better do it right. I'm totally kidding. Totally kidding. Hey, I've got to address something, and I've got to do it right now.
Oh.
What's going on?
Chris, are you going ZZ Top on us?
What do you mean?
Your beard used to be nicely manicured. Look at his beard now, Joan. Look at the camera.
Oh, hang on. Let me look.
He's like growing it ZZ Top-ish. Remember when I said that Do you remember when I said that I wanted my lawn to be as manicured as Chris's beard?
I'm just lazy. I have a bit of a cold,
Hey,
and I didn't feel like waking
now
up
it's just-
in time
I
to
heard
shave.
you hacking
He's
over
got
there.
kids, man. He's got a lot on his plate.
You want me to get you a beard trimmer? I can totally get you one.
Oh,
Don't you could? Okay.
Thank you for zooming in on him, too.
You're welcome.
Did
I
you
was happy
zoom
to do
in
that.
on Chris?
I did zoom in on Chris's beard.
That's awesome.
Hey, I wish I could grow a beard like that. This is all I get.
Yep.
You know, you can actually, if you want, you can use your beard trimmer in your car if you don't have time.
Okay.
Joan, what's the weirdest thing you've done in your car? Like makeup or
I
whatever?
put my makeup on all the time in the car. I did
Okay.
my mascara on the way in this morning.
Did you really?
Always do.
Is that why you look like the Joker?
Dan.
You say that.
What a jerk.
I know, right?
Dan, what's the one rule? We cannot criticize Joan. You know this rule.
To be
What
fair,
have you done?
To be fair, funnier than Liar Liar Pants on Fire Freddy.
It's fair.
Yes.
Anyway.
True.
First of all, I probably laughed a little too hard at my own.
You were a little too
my
proud of
own
yourself.
joke.
You said this is because you look like a Joker. Later on in the parking lot, she's going to say, it's not about the money, it's about sending the message and just
Sure.
slashing your tires.
Right.
Do you know what I do in my car?
It's going to be the tires and the brake lines this time.
Do you know what I do in my car?
What?
I have a skull shaver in my car.
A skull?
Did you do it?
shaver?
Did you do it this morning? Because it was very shiny this morning when he first came in.
Every morning when I'm on my way to work, a skull shaver is something you use to shave your head.
But aren't you getting stubble on your shoulders?
Nobody gets that close, man. It's just dark dandruff. That's what it is. So no, I don't get stubble on my shoulders. I don't. It all goes into the skull shaver, I guess.
I need to check the seats in your car and see.
Oh my gosh.
Are they nasty
Ask
with like little
Amy.
stubble?
Ask Amy. She was like, what the heck? She was looking in my car for something. And she's like, what are you doing here? Like, are you shedding that bad? And I had to admit to her, because she didn't know that I did this, because I'm kind of ashamed. So she's like, so talk about it on the radio. She said, what are you doing here? And I said, what do you mean, honey? It's like, there's like hair all over the place.
Why are you doing that?
And then she spots the skull shaver in my little compartment. And she's like, oh my God, why do you do that in the car? I said, because I don't want to waste 3 minutes. I like to multitask. And so I said, I don't want to waste 3 minutes, drive, in the bathroom doing my head every day. I want to just do it as I drive in.
You understand that that's distracted driving, right?
You know, it's funny. I thought about that, actually. I truly did. Every morning, I drive down for the police officers that are listening.
So
every morning.
As you're shaving your head, you drive by somebody and go, idiot, on your cell phone.
No, Dan, all you have to do is go, officer, I'm an illegal immigrant. I'm not legal to
It's
be
exactly
here.
what
And
I
just
could say. And you know
free
what?
to go.
I could pretend not to speak English.
Yeah.
No hablo inglés.
No hablo inglés. But I don't know if that's distracted driving or not. But I'm driving down every day, down 70, and I see cops off the side of the road. And because they're looking for people that are, bad drivers and drunks and whatever. They never pull me over, but I got a red light on my skull shaver just going back and forth on my head.
American woman on the YouTube chat says, why, oh, why does Dan always overshare?
Okay, Joe. Okay, you know what? Let's do this. No. Let's do this. What's more dangerous, putting on mascara while driving or me using my skull shaver? Let's go to the phones.
To be fair,
please.
one goes on the eye, the other's on the head. So I will have to say mascara. I'm sorry.
Exactly,
Hold
Joan.
on,
You
hold
could
on,
poke an
hold
eye out
on.
with that thing.
Can I just say one thing in my defense? I've been doing it for more than 30 years. because I've always done
That doesn't
morning
make it right,
radio.
Joan.
No,
That
but
doesn't make it right.
It
only
makes me
takes
very
one
good at
time.
it. Hang on. In 30 years of putting my makeup, do you know what it's called, by the way? It's called farting. If you, Farding, is putting your makeup on while you're driving. Yeah.
Okay. I call it, it's funny, I call it distracted driving.
In 30 years
And
of doing
dangerous.
it, I've never been in an accident while farting.
Doesn't mean it won't happen.
Have you ever poked yourself in the eye?
I have done that, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
That's pretty dangerous, Joan.
that's pretty dangerous, Joan. When you poke yourself in the eye with that thing, does your eyeball come out and it's like on the top of a fork?
It's not
Oh
a
my
blade
gosh.
that she's using.
Hold on.
No.
Back to Dan. Back to Dan for a
There you
second.
go.
No, let's talk about Joan.
How often are you having to vacuum up the stubble left behind from your head shaver?
So,
Or do you just go outside the car and just, like a dog, just shake it off?
no, I go to the car wash once a week, actually.
And you vacuum up all the stubble?
Yeah,
How many days a week are you doing this head shaving in the car?
every day. Every day? Every day I have to.
You just
Why
can't
wouldn't you
allow
just
a
do
little
it in
stubble?
the shower?
Yeah, that's a good question. It takes too much time, right?
But you're talking
Yeah,
about
it's-
multitasking.
I mean,
I
you're,
like
not
to multitask.
you're not shampooing. Just replace it with if you
Of
would have
course I
shampooed.
shampoo. Even if you're bald, you shampoo.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I do.
You just
Maybe force of habit.
Do you use
Just put
conditioner too?
soap.
I have a scalp. Why are we doing this?
To
I have
be
a
fair,
scalp
you could do
conditioner.
body
actually.
wash.
I have a scalp conditioner.
You have a scalp
I
conditioner?
do, and it feels so good.
I want to ask the chat line about this, but also
Talk about your oversharing.
Can't you just put like body wash or a bar of soap on your head?
Why does this matter? Why is this about me?
I don't know.
It's
all
your
I know,
it's the Nashville Morning News with Dan
so I
Manis.
use shampoo because I don't want to use soap because it'll dry out my scalp.
all I know is if you didn't have that nice segment telling us how good Matt Murphy did with his interview with Freddie, I would have had a text by now.
Yeah, why isn't he talking about me?
I did that segment twice. Somebody called me out. You know why I did it twice? I did it in the 5 and I did it in the last part
We
of the 7.
podcasted that part.
You know why? Because I pulled the audio and it was really, and Murphy Show did an outstanding
Murphy
job.
crushes.
And we do have to give the mayor credit for saying he would come back anytime.
He cornered liar, liar, pants on fire Freddie.
He did.
He did.
did?
Matt Murphy did. Yeah. And by the way, in defense to me, nobody ever taught me how to be bald. Like nobody.
Are there lessons?
Nobody
like,
told me.
Is there a
like,
class for this?
Well,
maybe
nobody
you could
ever
start
said
a
you're supposed to
class.
use it. Because now he's asking me a question. Why do you still use shampoo? I don't know.
You got caught up in that. No one's ever asked you that, have they?
No.
It's very confusing.
Yeah.
It's
not
very
just me. That is
confusing.
confusing.
Bald guys, do you use shampoo on your?
We need this answer.
Yeah.
Okay,
Joan,
so
please get me out of this.
Andrew says that I'm bald. I use face wash on my scalp. Why would you use shampoo?
You just got called out.
Okay. You want to hear the headlines, Dan?
Sure would. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
A body has been discovered in a very unusual place. That story is coming up. Also, check this out, guys. The Emmy nominations are out. You would not believe what's been nominated in the Outstanding Edited Interview category.
No, wait. You can't do that, and then you have to let me comment on it.
No. You can stick around for the news if you'd like.
Well, that's a no.
So then you just can't say anything about it, Dan.
8:59. I'm going to be on the road. Anyway, Christmas coming up.
Well, we're going to talk about the economic numbers that have just been released this morning. We're going to talk about China's collapse. We'll talk about the Doge kids. And I have a request on the super text line from Jason, KGB. Can you clip Joan saying, "I've never had an accident while farting"?
Fard, DD, farding.
Just clip it.
No, it doesn't matter. You know what the great thing is about digital editing? We can find a T and just place it right on top of that D.
You wouldn't do that to me because that's not nice editing.
It's funny. I actually would do that to you, Joan, without even a second thought.
She's never had an accident while farting. Joan
That's right.
Jones in the newsroom.
All right. Did we do your T's already?
Yeah.
Oh, we did. All right. Got a lot more coming up next on WTN. 8:58, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan, I have something for you.
What's that?
I think you're going to like this. Let me get this real quick. I have something saved.
Okay.
I've never been in an accident while farting.
We have a new hotkey, ladies and gentlemen.
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
It would have been better if you said I never had an accident while farting.
But I mean, it's the best. It's the best. It's the best we got.
It's the best we could do. We can make some edits after the fact.
Yes.
You know, the sad thing is that is the only Joanism we've got after how long you been here, Joan?
Almost a year.
And that's the only thing that we have on Joan.
Yep.
Meantime, I'm a daily onslaught of stupidity.
I got a text from 3629. Most men's bodies are covered in hair. Why not shampoo all over instead of soap? Answer that one.
Hey, he's got a point.
By the way, a lot of bald guys did come in and say that they do use shampoo on their bald head.
Did any bald guys come in and say that they shave their head in the car, though?
No, not that I've seen.
Okay, all right. Weird.
The answer's no.
Come on, man. Somebody help me out. All right. Happy weekend.
TB's got a nickname for you.